Now that you've already been able to get started with OCL and you've been able to create and edit resources, we now want to show how you can use parameters and searching so you can effectively get your resources back out of OCL. Earlier, we mentioned that you will often only get the first 25 results when querying resources, repositories, or owners from the API. If you have a larger list, however, there are some ways to get more repositories, resources, etc. from OCL by using query parameters for paging and limits. Let's go back to our list of CL concepts. I've already gone ahead and ran a query to list out CL's concepts. As you can see in the header here, however, we've only returned 25 concepts, and we definitely have a lot more. There's about 53,000. But how do we get more concepts than just the 25 shown here? Well, we can change it to get 50 concepts instead using the limit parameter. As you can see here, I've set the limit to 50 so that when we send out this query for CL's concepts, we're going to get even more concepts than before. Instead of the first 25, we've now returned 50 of them. Now, getting 50 concepts is great, but CL is way too big to get every concept using this limit parameter alone. So instead of getting large chunks of resources, we can do paging instead to get multiple smaller groups of resources. If the paging parameter is not specified, then you'll always get the first resources in the repository. However, if you specify page equals 2 and send off your query here, then we'll get the second set of resources. So now we've retrieved the second set of 25 resources. You can notice here in the header that we're at page 2. We've returned 25 concepts, but we're on the second set of concepts. So this is not the same set of concepts as we first returned. You can combine the limit and page parameters too. A good example is to go back to our 50 limit query above, where we can just query the next attribute in the header. So now we're going to be querying for the second set of 50 concepts, meaning that we're getting concepts number 51 through 100 instead of 1 through 50. Once again, we returned 50, we have page number 2, and we see our next and previous pages are 1 and 3. And then you can go through the body and look through these different concepts here. To quickly search for concepts, sources, mappings, and more through the API, try the free text search parameter. This will allow you to specify one parameter, the Q equals parameter, to search for one or more terms in OCL's API. For this example, we're going to search CL for the term HIV. As you can see, we have our Q equals parameter up here with just the text string HIV. And now if you look through the return concepts here, you're going to see concepts that have HIV either in the display name or in the description or in some other attribute. If you want to filter by one of OCL's attributes, you can also specify that with a filter. This works both with core attributes and with extra attributes, which are custom attributes specified by the content creator. For example, maybe you only want to see diagnoses related to HIV. So in this example, we have set our concept class to diagnosis, which will filter to only show concepts with this class. We're also still searching for the term HIV here. So you can go through this list, but you'll notice that the concept class will always be diagnosis because that's what we've set our filter to be. These will also be HIV-related concepts. But maybe you want to do the opposite. Maybe you only want to see concepts that don't have diagnosis. So we can do the opposite here by still specifying Q equals HIV, but instead of concept class equals diagnosis, we've now inserted this exclamation point in front of it, which specifies that we're looking for not diagnoses. So you can see in our return results that we're only going to be seeing concepts with the class not diagnosis. This could be program, it could be finding, could be a multitude of concept classes here. You can mix and match filters too. So if you want to do a couple of filters, for example, maybe you want to see diagnoses, but only where the data type equals coded, you can mix and match these filters. Now, if we want to see resources in a certain order, we can use sort parameters for that. Keep in mind that you have to specify a Q equals parameter for this to work. Let's sort the HIV results from earlier. Note that we've added to the query the sort ASC parameter, which will sort in ascending order for the numeric ID. And if you go through these, you'll see that this ID number will be sorted from lowest to highest. Now, we could also sort by something else, such as name. So we've specified sort ASC equals name. Notice the underscore in front first. And now we're going to get these concepts in alphabetical order based on their display name. So you'll see display name here starts with ABB. Display name for the second one is acute. So we're going in alphabetical order from A to Z here. We could also sort by the date the resources were last updated. So we've set last update to our sort parameter here, and we'll hit send, and we will now see them in order from when they were last updated. One thing to note is that we've always done ascending here in sort ASC, but you can also sort descending too. See our documentation for that parameter. I mentioned earlier that some concepts have extra attributes if the content owner has custom attributes that don't fit into OCL's data model. Those do not appear in the query results by default, however. We have a special query parameter for that, which is verbose equals true, so that you can see those. For example, here is ICD-10, which has concepts with a few extra attributes. But since we didn't specify the verbose parameter, we're not going to see those extra attributes here. But we can specify verbose equals true, and we'll be able to see the extra attributes on those concepts. Notice here that I've got verbose equals true turned on, and now we'll be seeing extra attributes that are shown here. You might also want to view the mappings from concepts to other concepts, either within the same source or to a concept from another source. We can include the include mappings parameter to do this. We've gone back to CL now, and we're querying for HIV, but we've also added the include mappings equals true parameter here. And now in our returned results, we're going to be seeing this mappings attribute, which displays all the mappings from that concept to another concept, whether it be within CL or to a concept outside of CL, such as to ICD-10. Note that these mappings are only where the concept is the from concept. But if you want the mappings where your concept is the to concept, then you have to use the include inverse mappings instead. This will return concepts related to this particular ID here, where this concept is the to concept. So it will be the destination concept instead of the source concept. So you can see here, we've got our to concept code right here, which matches what we put in our Q equals parameter. That's it for the basics of OCL's API. We hope this video, along with the documentation we linked in the description, helps you to get started with Open Concept Lab and managing your terminology. If you'd like to learn more about 100% of OCL's functionality being exposed via its API, or if you want to learn about creating and accessing content in a FHIR format, stay tuned for future videos. If you have any questions, please reach out to us on our website at openconceptlab.org. Thanks for watching.